We're glad to know you're still there and watching the breakfast on Plus TV Africa. Now, the British High Commission in Abuja has announced that starting July 15, 2025, Nigerians applying for UK study or work visas will receive digital e-visas instead of traditional passport stickers. This update applies only to applications submitted from that date onward. Earlier applications will still follow the current sticker-based process. Applicants must continue to visit both in person at a visa application center to submit biometrics and online where they'll receive an email from UK Visas and Immigration with instructions to activate UKVI account to manage and access their e-visa digitally. Dependents and visitors visa applicants will continue receiving physical visa stickers for now, though the digital shift aligns with broader UK efforts towards a more secure, efficient and convenient digital immigration system. Our guest this morning is Biodun Sowunmi, a public affairs analyst. Good morning and welcome to the program, sir.
Good morning.
Okay, what does this entail for us? Is it a good development or a bad development?
Well, technically, if you actually look at the time it takes in processing visa and obtaining visa to UK and some other countries, one is likely going to be tempted to say, well, this will cut off not only visits to the embassy, but also the processing time, provided everything works well, as we're being told it will. For the UK, it gives them an opportunity to properly screen applicants before visas are granted, since they have a lot of resources right out there to actually screen people. And once it's granted, it means you are likely going to be admitted into UK, not a question of getting the big net and being turned back. Of course, it will also give them the opportunity to be able to turn down people right at the point of applying, or rather than at the point of entry in UK. So it would help UK a lot, but it will cut processing time for Nigerians to be able to go to UK.
Okay, now, why I even asked whether it is a good thing or a bad thing is because of what seems to be the global trend now. Everybody trying to tighten measures of entry into their country. Canada has raised the proof of funds to 17 million. It wasn't that high before now. The USA is talking about one-time entry visa of 3 months, I think, and then the UAE, the same thing. They're trying to place some restrictions on that. That's why I'm asking this. Why the sudden restrictions? Why is this a payback or something? Because one of the analysts were saying that while USA, for instance, was giving us like a re-entry visa for up to like 5 years or something, we were giving them 3 months. So this could be a reprisal or something. I don't know. But why the sudden changes into visas within all around the globe for not just Nigerians, but especially for Nigerians?
Well, it's a combination of two factors. The first one is on the law of reciprocity, which governs international relations. If we are being given 5 years, we're expected to reciprocate by issuing 5 years to citizens of other countries, who, in any case, Nigerians are getting 5 years visas from. For instance, in the case of the US, we should have aligned with that. And for a failure to align with it means that they would have to reciprocate. And that's exactly what they have done. Nobody can impose any condition on any country. It's actually the internal affair of that country on the rules of migration. So if we have a flexible migration system, we expect other countries to have the same. Otherwise, we will tighten up. But in this case, we seem to be the one on the wrong side of this, and so is it that we reciprocate, we negotiate like what they're trying to do now? Otherwise, US will not change their mind. But globally, there's also another problem, which is the second factor. There is a problem of downward migration policy being implemented across developed economies for obvious reasons, because of the state of the economy We know the economy has heated up so badly that some people are predicting possible recession. We know the tariff war, the trade war is also ongoing, partly accounting for it. So because of that, the need for labor migration has actually reduced significantly. And because of that, policies are now being implemented to discourage people from coming in, particularly people otherwise who will be interested in labor skills shortages in different parts of the developed economy are not being discouraged from coming in because they are probably saturated currently. And that's the part of the underlying reason. The third factor is the issue of growing unemployment in many of these countries as a result of, again, the same problem. China has advanced so much and penetrated many of the markets. Otherwise, with cheaper goods, otherwise being patronized by developed economies. So because of that, that has not led to any expansion in many European countries. And because, so therefore, there's no need to keep allowing labor skills to migrate, when in reality the economy is not expanding as it should. So there is a combination of factors, trying to moderate who can come in, who cannot come in. In the case of UAE, strangely, they even banned tourist transit visa for Nigerians, and also Nigerians of certain age group, which explains the situation in relation to migration. I mean, it's partly economic induced immigration policy changes, and also partly due to reciprocity.
Okay, well, I'm not sure it's the same conditions that they're giving Nigerians that they will give other countries. And it's been said that Nigeria has one of the weakest passports in the world. What can we do to change that?
Well, I think that's an excuse. If you actually look at the fact that we've tightened up on the passport system, we've made it biometric. So I don't know what else can be done to make it tighter than that. Our passport compares to many of the countries where these restrictions will not apply. The fact of the matter is they will give reasons. When you look at the totality of actions being taken, many of it largely driven. Look at the case of the US. It's quite clear that Trump did not hide it. They made it very clear the intention to try and restrict the number of people coming to America and those in America already, while at the same time waging tariff war to encourage, investors and particularly American companies who have, their satellite manufacturing businesses in China to relocate back to the US. So some of these things are very clear. They didn't hide it, but they will give us any acceptable diplomatic response. The question is, what else are we supposed to do to tighten up on the issue of our passport? We have the NIN now, National Identification Number. You have the BVN, you have the biometrics passport system. So what else are we supposed to do? That is what seems not to be clear.
Well, what I was really concerned about is, apart from what we have been doing to improve on our passport system, more or less, I'm thinking about the fact that Nigerians, to enter into other countries is like passing through the eye of the needle, so to speak. So what are those factors that really made Nigeria to be what it is right now, where countries regard us the way they regard? Sometimes they blame it on individuals that are unscrupulous elements that maybe are fraudsters and all that. But I think it goes beyond that. So what are some of these things that we need to address? Because we need to regain that respect as a people.
Yeah, well, if you actually look at some of the arguments, for instance, the issue of fraud, every country has fraud perpetrators, whether they're indigenous or non-indigenous. That does not mean it should be tolerated, particularly by host countries. The fact of the matter is there are also many Nigerians contributing, to the economies of their host countries. So that is not in doubt. Again, the issue of stereotypes, the way things are portrayed, if it's done by black people because of the neo-colonial narrative, which we see from time to time, there's still the issue of Africa is not contributing to global economy, which is a lie, and more or less is dependent on the West aid, which is also another lie. But there's that narrative that they keep pumping out from time to time. But the fact of the matter, in relation to Nigeria, is not really about fraud per se. It's actually about the population, the number of migrants wanting to leave the country to go to different countries, probably due to economic reasons, wanting to migrate to different countries. Otherwise, you will ask yourself the question, why is it that the Nigerian doctors and nurses are playing a major role in the health system of some European countries? In the case of UK, pull out Nigerian doctors and nurses and dentists, the system will collapse. So it's not just about Nigerians generally, it's about the number of people coming in. We are a major source destination for migrants, and they want it controlled at a point in time when the economy is not expanding to be able to accommodate the labor migrants.
I remember a story, was it yesterday or a few days ago, that I think yesterday, when we read about the fact that some European Union persons and the United Nations as well were trying to enter Libya so that they will have discussions about how porous their borders are that allow people to migrate through Libyan borders to get to the other countries, and they wanted to address that. But the Libyan government did not allow them in on the grounds that they violated some entry requirements and all that. It seems as if the government of Libya seems to be having something good coming out of this illegal migration. But the European Union is trying to guard against that. So while some countries are gaining from it, so it seems, others are losing as it is. But my question is, if we want to address this problem of Nigeria being a great source of immigration into other countries, where do we start from? Because I don't think it's just the economic problem that is making people to leave Nigerian shores. So I don't know how we're going to address that, because I think some people just want to be abroad. And some of them that are already abroad are finding it difficult and embarrassing to come back home because it is not what they thought they're going to have abroad. So it seems there's something fundamentally wrong that we are not doing to either encourage the people who are already there and want to come back home to do so, and to discourage people who are already here to stay here.
Well, there are about 4 different reasons that can be adduced for that situation. I mean, in the first instance is cultural imperialism. You only need to go through the TV sets, put them on, and you see the images being pumped out, which is about the layer, the beauty of America, the beauty of UK and all that. And as if there are no poor people in these countries, as if they do not have slums. Go to Harlem, Harlem in New York, and see the state of it. Go to some parts of Brooklyn and you see it. So, but the images being pumped out is totally different. You don't see the image of Detroit. You don't see the image of Louisiana and some other states, which in reality, there are so many poor people living there. There are over 500,000 Americans living on the street. The same thing is about UK and other countries. So when you look at the narratives, the cultural narratives, being spread by the media, Nigerians tend to get fascinated with it and thinking maybe I need to change location. So that's one of it. The second one is economy. There is no one that can dispute the fact that if you can't get a job within the economy and you are highly skilled, you probably will think about migrating to other countries. And particularly the way we conducted our industrial relations over the years, when we tell doctors and highly skilled academic workers that we don't care. We won't give in, we'll allow strikes to go on for months, in some cases 8 months, they would end up feeling frustrated and migrate to other parts of the world, not simply because their skills are in need, but simply because we've made it, we've made descent intolerable at all, which I think is part of the reasons why many people that I know in the academic world choose to migrate and say, look, we can't live with this any longer, so what you have to move on, not necessarily because of money. Then you have the issue of our own approach to development. We've taken a situation where it does not matter how you make your money. As long as you have money, then you can survive within the system. So you see people engaging in different crimes, which requires cross-border, transit, and then come back with a lot of money back at home. Nobody asks questions about how did you get this? Yeah. Where did you get it from? Wow. The hush puppies of this world and so many of that. So they keep moving from time to time in and out of the country. So, and again, you have the people who in any case are seeking better educational system for their wards or better health system, to get treated. Not necessarily because we do not have the doctors to treat them, but they will end up, meeting the same Nigerian doctors who leave Nigeria to foreign countries. But the problem is this. Back at home, we do not necessarily have the modern equipment like the Nigerian doctors working abroad. So it's a combination of factors. We need to look at the power sector in order to improve the economy. Okay. We need to look at the agricultural sector, to raise production in order to bring down the cost of living. We need to create more jobs through industrial development. We need to ensure that our universities and hospitals are better equipped than what they are now.
Okay. Well, you've raised so many points that I would have loved to follow up on, but unfortunately we have no time. Education, healthcare, and all that, and all the reforms that are coming up in the education sector, that some of them are very laughable, like from JAM and all. Anyway, but that's matter for another day. We'd like to thank you, Mr. Sowunmi, for your time this morning. It was a pleasure having you.
Thank you for having me.
Okay, we've been talking with Mr. Biodun Sowunmi, a public affairs analyst, and we're looking at visa developments in immigration worldwide, especially as it concerns Nigeria. And that is the final thing we did on the show. We cannot go further than this. Our time is out. We'd like to re-invite you to join us tomorrow morning for the another edition of the program. For now, on behalf of the entire crew, my name is Nyangul Agaji. Thank you for being there.